Um, I think it's when my daughter does something, does something new or does something that's kind of takes us by surprise. She's like 2.5, and that's the greatest joy that you get, you know, when you just get those things. Definitely. A football match maybe as well, but unfortunately the Irish football team don't give you many moments where you do VIVA. Maybe a rugby match, I do VIVA. And this film has given me a few moments where I could shout VIVA. Except we made ours before that. See, I think because it showed in San Sebastian, but we showed in Telluride, you know, maybe 2 weeks before, and we shot, I think, maybe 2 or 3 months before they did. It's full of life. Cuba's full of life, and it's also, it has a very strange mixture of physical poverty and decay, being side by side with sophistication and a sense of civil society and sense of the value of education and culture. And that's something that you don't get very often. That poverty side by side with that sense of civilization. So it makes it that's quite an intoxicating mix. Jorge and Luis Alberto as well was really fantastic for me, because I didn't fully realize how good Cuban actors were, you know, both like kind of professionally but also how they prepare, how their education prepares them, and so it made it, you know, it makes it much easier when you're working with very good actors like that. You have to be precise in your initial ideas, and you have to give them, you know, a precise version of what you want. But you don't have to keep giving that. You don't have to argue every moment or every case or reinvent it. Once they understand it, they bring to you all the time. So after that, it's sort of, you know, it's moments of, maybe I might say, that's a little bit too melodramatic, take it down a little bit, or simple things. So it was very kind of honest, open engagement with them. No, there was no real problems. I mean, there's certain restrictions, but the restrictions I knew in advance. So, you know, when you have to film in a location, you can't change. You know, if you've said it's that day in that place, you've got to stick to it. If you want a wig, you can't run down to the wig shop and buy new wigs. You know, they don't exist. But I think the limitations that were there were far more liberating and gave a lot more than we lost. You know, in other words, you know, we were able to get locations that were very authentic. We didn't try and perfect those places, we tried to capture them. And I think that lent an authenticity to the style and the way we made the film. I think it's the desire not to perfect, but to capture. I think is very important, and that's about creating an environment where things can happen, so that everybody feels a certain degree of freedom within that space, but it's a freedom that's based on a common understanding of what we're working on.
sobre aquello en lo que trabajamos.
Also, I think one of the things that I wanted to do, I didn't try and not hear the sounds of motorbikes outside the window. Like Havana is one of the most noisy cities in the world. And on a normal film set, people say, wait till the motorbike passes by. But for me, I said, no, let's have that there. Let's have that sound there. Or the guy on a whistle out the window. That's part of the energy of the city. And equally, when we filmed on a bus, the people on the bus have paid a fare. They're traveling on the bus. We just happened to be on the bus with the camera, and they ignored us. So for me, it was about taking our project into a real world and trying to let it exist within the real world, as opposed to trying to stop the real world for our project to happen.